Hey guys, Rob here, and I'm going to be doing a review for the Hunger Games sequel, Catching Fire, starring Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Woody Harrelson, and a host of other actors. Much for tuning into R&B Reviews. It's great to be back reviewing movies once again after a brief hiatus, and I'm sorry for any viewers or subscribers that have been wondering where I've been. Different personal things have been happening in my life, but now I think I'm back on track where I can go back and review movies that are playing in theaters as well as out on DVD, including this one, Catching Fire. Now this is the long-awaited sequel to the 2012 film adaptation about Katniss Everdeen, who voluntarily takes her sister's place in the Hunger Games in a post-apocalyptic world. Now for those of you that don't know, the Hunger Games is a televised fight to the death in which 2 teenagers from 12 poverty-stricken districts are chosen at random to compete. And Catching Fire is, of course, based off of the second book in the series, and it picks up where Katniss is struggling to adjust to her life after winning the Hunger Games with Petra, played by Josh Hutcherson, and she is now seen not only as a celebrity, but people are viewing her act at the end of the first movie as well as at the end of the book as an inspiration for a rebellion in the districts against the president of the very wealthy capital. Now this movie marks some new changes in the series. For one, director Francis Lawrence takes over as the director from Gary Ross, and Lawrence, I think, brings a much stronger visual style to the series. Francis Lawrence replaces some of Ross's shaky cam shots with longer, visual, beautiful shots, and because Catching Fire, the story is a little bit darker than the first film, the photography is done in bleak grays and blues, and the special effects are also top-notch, and the sets and the over-the-top costumes, I think, add to the story. But supposedly this movie has a much bigger budget than the first film, and in my opinion, I really do think that it shows, and I think it definitely helps with a bigger budget do a better job at really creating this bleak, sad sort of world that some of these characters are living in. But in addition to the visuals, Francis Lawrence also manages to craft a very atmospheric and dramatic character study of how Katniss is dealing with her new fame and the new problems that have entered her life. Now, what I liked about this movie, as well as the other Hunger Games movie, is that as the characters are very relatable to what is going on, to a modern audience. I mean, Katniss is suffering from a kind of sort of a post-traumatic stress sort of thing where now, and because of what happened in the Hunger Games and what she went through, and now she's very well known in her life, so now she's in the public eye a lot, and she has a real hard time adjusting to it, and I'm sure many celebrities, feel that way, like they have to put on a show for everybody. And also, I also like that in this film, as well as the other one, people's fascination with celebrities is an idea that is explored very well in both of these movies. Now, getting to the performances, I thought Jennifer Lawrence, gave an even stronger performance as the stubborn Katniss, who's kind of forced to be seen as an inspiration to people, even though that is not what she wanted, and she wishes that her life could go back to being normal again. And the rest of the cast really gets to shine in their parts, including Donald Sutherland as the president, who fears an uprising and he wants Katniss eliminated without adding fuel to the already growing fire. But the problem that I had with Catching Fire, and I imagine there's going to be some people that are going to be pissed off with what I say, but the problem I had with this film was the last third of the movie. Now, for those of you that haven't read the book, this might be a spoiler, so if you want to turn down the volume for like the next 30 seconds, or if you want to come back to it after seeing the movie, you're more than welcome to. But anyway, the problem that I had with Catching Fire was the last third of the movie, when many former winners have to take part in these new Hunger Games. I really did not feel the suspense like I did in the first film. Like in the first film, I was really on the edge of my seat the first time, and I knew each of these characters. I knew which ones I wanted to root for. I knew which ones I was supposed to despise. But here, I did not get the same feeling, and I ended up not caring about what was happening to any of the characters. Even the leading characters, like, Katniss or Petra or and anybody in her group, kind of like but the first 2/3 of this movie I really did care, but when it got to the Hunger Games portion, I felt kind of let down. Still, I think Catching Fire is a very well-made movie, and I felt it did a good job at exploring the aftermath and the drama of Katniss, and this film, I think I did a much better job with the visuals, like I said, making the districts much more, bleak and dark than in the first film. I know people were complaining about Gary Ross's shaky cam in the first one, but I think that in this case, it worked very well for that film. Still, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with these next 2 films and how they're going to turn out, but for this one, I'm definitely going to recommend checking this one.